Hello friends, I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. And we're starting yet another month, so it's time to look back at what I did last month, January of 2025. Woo! Already there. So anyway, in these videos, I basically just look at the videos I released in the previous month and then the games I played, counting down my favorite new to me plays from that month. So I guess we'll get started. I'm sure you've seen this video many times in the past couple of years, so I won't hold things up. Last month, I released 5 new videos. The first one was a review of new Button Shy game, Death Valley Highs and Lows. It's a standalone expansion to the Death Valley game that has been released previously. Another one of those 18-card games that you can play. And this is a 2-player or solo game. And I enjoyed it. Check out my review of it if you want to know more. Then I finished out my 2024 couple of videos. Usually the ones I release kind of at the end of 2024, but I had a business trip and I was a little sick, so it came out at the beginning of 2025 in January. First off was my Golden Gizmos Awards, where I award 5 games from the year that I played, or well, 4 of them are ones I played during the year that stood out to me for one reason or another in various categories, and then kind of a 5th, lifetime achievement type award that I give out. So if you want to know about the 5 new Golden Gizmo Award recipients, check out that video. And that's also the video where I did my look back into December, because again, I didn't do much in December as it was, so I just kind of combined that look back into that. And then I rounded out the top 20 of my favorite new to me games, which is a compilation of basically these videos throughout the months where I take all those new to me games, throw them into Pub Meeple, and then bring out at that time what I felt like were my favorite solo plays of the year. So if you want to check out that top 20 video, it happened a couple weeks ago. And then I wrapped up my 10x4 solo challenge from the last 4 months of 2024. Where I played a bunch of games solo, or 10 games specifically solo, 4 times each, and again, count those down. So a lot of kind of countdowns. They do well. People watch them, so whatever. But that was yet another one. So if you want to know what solo challenges or games I took care of in September through December, those 10 games are in that video. And then finally, just last week, I did another review of Draft Duel Football, just in time for the big game, I guess, as you will. But that's a game I've been playing a little bit off and on since the summer when I got my hands on an early copy. And that game is now officially released, so check it out. If you want to know more, check out the video. And I think I linked to the site where you can purchase the game, because I don't know if it's in stores. So that was Draft Duel Football. So that gets us into what I played in January of 2025. First of all, I played 20 times in 2025 in January. That is up till this point. So 20 times I got a game to the table, about 1 a day, not quite 1 a day, I guess. 13 of those games were unique games, different games, and at least one of them was on Board Game Arena, and we'll touch on that when I get into my 4 favorite games. Because I did play 4 new to me games, which is going to be the rest of this video, counting those down, starting with the number 4 out of the month game I played. That's Star Wars, the Deckbuilding game. This is a 2-player game. It's got a solo mode you can get offline, and that's the way I played it against the leader. I had them be the Empire, and I was the Rebels. And in Star Wars, the Deckbuilding game, it's like any other deck building game. You start out with the same starting cards in your deck. You're going to pick a leader for you, or at least for the enemy, and you're going to have a planet, a starting planet for each, and basically the goal is to defeat the opponent's starting planet 3 times, but you can put out defensive ships, so you got to kill off their ships before you can attack their planet. And the cards themselves allow you to either purchase new cards like any other deck builder, or make attacks like a lot of deck builders. So you're just kind of going at it, drafting cards in your deck that are going to help you with your strategy to attack and defend as best you can, so that way you defeat their 3 planets before they defeat your 3. Neat thing about this game is you can also attack cards in the card row, the drafting row, the buying row, whatever you want to call it, because you can only draft neutrals and your side cards, but there could be enemy cards in the row, and they might just let them sit there because you're not going to be able to draft new cards if the whole row is full of, their cards. So you can attack those as well. And that's a neat little twist on a lot of deck builders. Fun little game, but number 4 for me. Number 3 is the game I played on Board Game Arena in a group, learning it, playing it. It was a decent little worker placement with a kind of a twist. It's Fromage. It's been getting a little bit of buzz lately, so I wanted to check it out. It's a cheese making game, and you've got 3 cheeses that you're going to place, and depending on how you place them, they're going to kind of go away for 1, 2, or 3 rounds. You've also got a board you can play off of, and you're just trying to make cheeses to score points. And there are other different things you can do. You got buildings you can build. You can turn in other resources and things. But for the most part, you're just trying to empty your collection of cheeses, because that's what's going to end the game. And you want to do it in such a way to score the most points, because it's got a turning wheel. It's got 4 zones in it. Each zone's got different effects they can do based on where and how you place your cheeses. And so it's a neat little twist, and you really got to math out when your worker is going out and where, so that way you know when they're coming back, so you can set up, for future uses. You don't want to, spend your whole first turn getting rid of 3 cheeses that are going to age for 3 rounds, because then you're not going to play for 3 rounds until they come back. So you really got to think it through, and I felt like I did all right. I picked it up pretty quickly. It wasn't hard to learn, and I enjoyed it. It just missed math when the game was going to end. I thought I had 1 more round, so I had a plan that I didn't quite get to see through to fruition, but no fault of mine. I just miscounted what players might do to end the game a round sooner than expected. So, Fromage, fun little game. I'd like to play it for real, but on Board Game Arena, I feel like I got a good feel of it and did enjoy it. I like worker placements anyway, and I liked the twist on, how long the workers are out for. My number 2 favorite new to me game from January of 2025 is an oldie favorite that I just finally got to the table. I've had it, in my background behind me for quite a while. Finally got it out, got it played solo again. I think this one's also on Board Game Arena or one of those sites. It's Granja, or Granja, whatever. I've got the original version. I know they did come out with a deluxe version with a lot of, new bits and bobs, but I've only got the old original version. I don't think there's much extra in it. And this is another one where it didn't come with a solo mode, but my version had, from who I bought it from, I bought a used copy. They had a solo mode that's been put into it. So I got to play this solo against the solo bot. And I like the game. It's a good game. Basically, you play in 6 rounds where you're basically in the first phase of the round, you're playing just on your farm and you're tucking a card, and those cards are going to give you special actions or benefits or allow you to build your farm up, so that way you're producing more of the various resources that farms produce. And then in the second phase, you're going to go through and take turns drafting from a common dice pool. So it's got things I like: multi-use cards, draft dicing, and resource management. A lot of neat little actions. So you're taking turns drafting the dice, and then you're going to take those actions based on the value of the die that was drafted, and potentially locking people out from doing the same. And after that, you're basically going to continue to try to turn things in from your farm in deliveries, based on the number of delivery you are allocated for yourself that round, based on your helper cards and bits. And then you're going to secretly pick one of 4 different delivery cubes, with 0, 1, 2, or 3 deliveries for that round, and that's going to stay put for 3 rounds. So you can't always pick the 3 delivery cube, basically. But then you're going to deliver the items from your farm either to the city or to your private objective cards. And then you're going to collect, things as you do that more and more to help get points and build yourself up for future rounds. So it's got a lot of the things I like. It took me a little while to grasp. The rule book wasn't extremely clear on when I could take certain actions. It just says, the bulk of the game is going to be taking free actions, and then it didn't really spell out what those free actions are, at least in my opinion, very well. So it was second game, I had to have a little conversation and relook at everything, be like, oh, okay, I could do more than I originally thought in the first play. Granja, I'll probably like it more as I play it more now that I've kind of wrapped my head around it, but it's a good game. It's got things I like. But my number 1 favorite new to me game from January 2025 is Great Western Trail, Argentina. I had played Great Western Trail a while back, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. But it sat there, and I knew it's a favorite game that everybody loves. And so I wanted to check it out, and I was excited to try one of the new versions. I've heard good things about specifically the New Zealand one, but Argentina also is, I think, the closest to the original Great Western Trail, or at least the second edition, as far as the gameplay itself. And it just adds one little side board where you're collecting grain and then sending cattle off across the sea to these 3 European cities. And based on like how much grain you have to send with your cattle, you're going to be able to score more and more points in those cities as well. So not only you're scoring points if you play Great Western Trail, basically rondelling through the city, you're moving forward through the various points where you're going to take actions at those points, and then eventually you're going to get to whatever the end town is and turn in your cattle at that point, usually to the train track. In this case, it's got the train and the ships. So you're going to score for unique cattle you have in hand at that point and collect some income. But also, additionally, in the Argentina, you can also turn in these grain to score in the faraway cities as well, because your grain is feeding those cattle along the way. So just a neat little addition, but otherwise it's basic Great Western Trail. But I really like it because it's just a thinky game where you're managing those cattle card resources and your money, and you're putting out worker locations basically, even though you only got one worker that's going to travel continuously through the city and then start over again. There's no backtracking. So based on how those different zones are coming out on the board, you're going to need to try to play things in the right order, and you can't take your opponent's actions. So when you go to their spot, you're only going to get one action, and that's going to be one action from your player board. So not super strong as going to your own spots or those neutral spots where you can take, various actions choices. So I really like Great Western Trail, and I'm happy to finally get my hands back on the game. Looking forward to playing this with other people again, another solo game, as a lot of mine are, unfortunately. But I like playing when I do have a game group. I play games I know more than the new to me games. So a lot of these new to me games are going to be in solo plays for the most part. And that's fine. I enjoy playing solo. I have no problem with it. It's like some people. And that's what I did in January of 2025. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Comment below what you've been playing in the last month or so, or even longer, or your comments on the games I mentioned in this video, whether you enjoyed them or not. And if you thought my list was out of order from yours, maybe you like Star Wars the deck building game the best and didn't like Great Western Trail. I don't know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, and of course subscribe if you haven't already, so that way you can come back and see more videos from me like this one. I look forward to seeing you then.